2017. My name is Susie Ellis, and I'm the chairman and CEO of the Global Wellness Institute, where we do a lot of things, including research on the wellness economy and in particular wellness tourism. So this is our second year working with World Travel Market and putting together this symposium. And what we've done this year is put together two segments. One is today from 10:30 to 12. The next one is tomorrow from, I think it's 1 to 2:30. Let's see. Yes, 1 to 2:30. And I've put together 5 industry leaders that you'll meet today, and there'll be some tomorrow as well, to give you a very quick overview of the very exciting wellness travel arena. Some of you maybe are in it already, and it certainly has a lot of momentum. And there's a lot of momentum and a lot of robustness in its future. So you'll hear all about that today. So today's segment is called The Future of Wellness Travel. Tomorrow's segment is called Differentiation in Wellness Travel Can Be a Competitive Advantage. So today's session and tomorrow's are very different, so feel free to come back if you would like to know more in depth. And you will have a chance to ask questions. So Slido is, you go to slido.com, and I think they're going to give you some information on the slides here. You go to slido.com, you need to be online, and the hashtag is WTM London, LDN. And you can just ask questions at any time. And the questions come up on the monitor here for us to see, and we'll answer them as we go along. And or if I know that we're going to be answering them, then I'll let that happen. So let's get started. And to begin with, I'll let you know that today you are going to meet several very interesting people. Sue Harmsworth, who is the founder of S-Spas here. Stella Foti, who is the head of Wellbeing Escapes. Vicente Torres and Delia de Miguel, who are from Ibiza, and they are branding Ibiza as wellness. And then at the end, we'll have Anne Bigging from Healing Hotels of the World. So in this 90 minutes, you will get an A to Z on wellness travel, not only where it's been, but especially where it is now and where it's going. So to start with, let's begin with some wellness travel trends. As I mentioned, the Global Wellness Institute does a variety of things, and one of the main things we do is research. So we do things like this. This is the Global Wellness Economy Monitor, and in it is the very latest data on wellness tourism. And this is all available for anyone for free, and that's the website globalwellnessinstitute.org. You can go to get more information. You can, in fact, download the entire report. This is an overview if you're not that familiar with wellness. This is how it's been categorized. 10 years ago, we didn't use wellness, the term, all that much, but now it's become a very popular term globally. You can see here the global wellness economy includes a variety of things. You can see wellness tourism is that kind of pinkish ball, raspberry colored, 563 billion revenue a year. There's also thermal and mineral springs, the spa industry. Those are the things that are most closely related to those of us who are in this room. There's also workplace wellness. There's wellness lifestyle real estate, fitness and mind-body, healthy eating, complementary and alternative medicine, beauty and anti-aging is the very large ball. And all of this is underneath the umbrella of wellness. That's why there's so much interest in it around the world, because there's a lot of facets of it, and people are all interested in these varieties of aspects. Very quickly, here's a definition of wellness tourism. It is travel associated with the pursuit of maintaining or enhancing one's personal well-being. So you can look at it as there's primary wellness travel and secondary. So primary wellness travel is when someone is going somewhere specifically for their wellness. So if you're going, for example, to a spa, perhaps Shivasam, or you go to Lanzerhof or Champneys, that is someone that's going specifically for wellness. That would be a primary wellness traveler. Or if you go to India on a yoga retreat, for example. And then there's the category of secondary wellness travel, and that is someone that is going on a different kind of trip, but including wellness. And this is the category that's growing hugely because more and more people are including some kind of wellness in their travels. Massage or some exercise, some stress reduction, and so on. One thing to know is that the wellness traveler is a high-yield tourist. In other words, they spend a lot of money, and they spend a lot of money both domestically and international. And you can see here the numbers, 61% higher in the international traveler and 164% higher in the domestic traveler. And then this is just a very good way to look at wellness tourism. If you think of health tourism as sort of the umbrella term, underneath that you could think of wellness and you can think of medical. Medical tourism is more about solving problems, having surgeries and so on. But wellness tourism is more proactive, more about prevention and improving the quality of life. And you can see the numbers. Wellness tourism is a much bigger market than medical tourism. The top 10 wellness tourism markets, these are people who are traveling for wellness. United States, number 2, Germany. The Germans love to go on their wellness holidays. France, China, Japan, those are the top 5. And we'll talk a little bit more about China tomorrow because it's increasingly becoming an important market that's traveling for wellness. Just a few statistics on the growth. These markets continue to grow. We've been tracking this now for about 5 years. Spa facilities are growing, thermal and mineral springs, and wellness tourism. So between 5 and 8%. And if you know one thing about travel in general and the growth every year, 3 to 4%, you can see that these numbers are almost double. So you will see more and more people traveling for wellness. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through a few trends. These are trends that have come up at some of the research roundtables that we do, as well as we just completed a summit in Palm Beach, Florida, where we had 600 top wellness experts from around the world. So here's what consumers are asking for and what we are seeing that's in the works in terms of response. People are wanting silence. There's a lot of stress. So we're seeing some silent spas, wellness monasteries, downtime abbeys, and silent eating. Here's an example of a place in Austria. This place is actually called the Silent Spa. It was just opened last year, Terme La Hotel. And it's called the Silent Spa. The entire facility is created for silence. And here, I think this is an interesting photo. This is Nature Cinema. It's in South Tyrol. And you can see it's just chairs set up to watch nature. And I think that says pictorially a lot about what people are looking for, at least for part of their vacations. Another trend we're seeing is art and creativity taking center stage. People are finding that part of reducing stress is engaging in creative pursuits. So what's happening is now some of this is coming into travel options. So classical concert, intensive painting classes at hotels, wellness retreats, spas, and studios. A couple of examples. This is in Australia. It's going to be opening next year, 2018, and it will feature all of these hot spring pools, and it will have an amphitheater. So you'll be in the pools, relaxing in your thermal baths, and you'll be able to watch concerts, presentations, etc. So that's going to be next year. But already, some of you might be familiar with Schloss Elmau. It is in Germany. They brand themselves as the cultural spa. And they have this beautiful concert hall. And they do 200 concerts a year. So they have a fabulous spa facility, a lot of outdoor activities, very much what people would want when it comes to wellness. But in addition, they have this very creative and beautiful music program. Here's a trend that is definitely here to stay. The future is mental wellness. We see from our research that consumers, not surprisingly, are stressed, and they are looking for ways to de-stress. So it isn't just activity, exercise, or healthy food, massages, and so on. It's ways to deal with mental wellness, to mental health. So we're seeing things that, for example, here's a floating meditation class at the Solage Resort and Spa in Calistoga, California. And here, and you'll hear a little bit more about this when you meet Sue Harmsworth in a few minutes, this is Spa Life at the Corinthia Hotel in London. And they're very much into an integrative approach, and they have brought in a neuroscientist in residence. Now, just note that Sue Harmsworth is very much on the cutting edge always with what's happening. So when you see a place that is working with neuroscientists, that's a good indication that this is something that consumers are starting to ask for and look for. So mental wellness, you'll see a lot of that. Another trend that I'm sure all of you are looking at is millennials, and how the millennials are contributing, and we're seeing are actually transforming our market. Because the millennials are not, at our summit in Palm Beach just a few weeks ago, actually, we had a very interesting presentation for the gals that do the Well and Good website, which is all the cutting edge things that are happening in health and wellness. And one of the things they mentioned is that the millennial is not necessarily looking for your typical destination vacation. So this destination spas that we are used to for the baby boomers, not necessarily as appealing to the millennials. So they need to do some adjusting. What the millennials are wanting, they're wanting, because the millennials are not new to wellness and they have wellness pursuits at home, they're looking for a really stepped up, customized experience. So they want to deepen their existing wellness practice, not be introduced to it. And they are transferring their trust from the destination spa to the local wellness expert. So one suggestion is that wellness destinations, spa destinations, start incorporating experts from different arenas and make a real effort to have a specialist there, including also not just destination spas, but resort and hotel spas as well. Here is a photo from their presentation on all the young, very attractive to millennials teachers that are out there. So having someone like that at your spa, at your hotel, or if you, as a travel person, know that someone is appearing at a certain place, that is going to be of interest to the millennial. Another trend is wellness brands are mattering more. And from acquisitions to global expansion of wellness, we have some new hospitality concepts. You might be aware that Hyatt recently bought Miraval. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Miraval is a brand in the US, very known for its mindfulness program. They just spent quite a bit of money, Sue will probably know the amount, to purchase Miraval. So they're going to be incorporating Miraval in their brand and possibly in other brands as well. They also just bought Exhale. That's even more recent. And Exhale is a day spa brand that's also in hotels. And it is more oriented towards core fitness, a little bit more hardcore fitness. And I would say that's probably aimed at the millennial. Even Hotels is a brand you may have heard of, just started in the US. I have stayed at their place a few times in New York. They just opened in China. They are all about, the whole hotel is about wellness and balance. That's why it's called Even. Moderately priced, no spa, just going to this hotel, staying, and having wellness experience. And Equinox, a fitness brand, is now going to be opening hotels. Lastly, I just want to mention that countries, regions, cities, and islands are increasingly putting wellness front and center in their tourism campaign. You can see here Beverly Hills, City of Wealth, Fiji, where happiness finds you, Aspen, City of Well-Being, Thailand, Paradise for Longevity, Norway, Powered by Nature. So you can see, and we're seeing more and more of these. We are going to be hearing from the people from Ibiza that they are branding Ibiza as wellness with a campaign that I think is pretty exciting. I should give some nod to Incredible India. This was a campaign you're all, I'm sure, familiar with. Many years ago it started, but you can see they began already sort of adding the image of wellness to their campaign. So we're going to see more of that. So that's an introduction. Thank you very much for that. And without any further ado, I'm going to ask Sue Harmsworth to come up, and we're going to go right into my interview with Sue Harmsworth. Please give her a hand. Sue, maybe right here? Or where do you want to sit? Let's have you sit right here.
On the right side, yes.
Yes, we coordinated, kind of.
Yes.
Well, let me just let you know that Sue Harmsworth is the number one person in spa and wellness globally. You did start quite a few years ago. You're going to tell us about that. But she is the founder of S-Spa, and S-Spa has won awards around the world for many, many years. And I'm going to ask you to tell us how many spas you have, or how many locations, and what your company does. Sue.
Well, S-Spa's 25 years this year, and I'm 45 years in the industry this year. We've got 700 spas in 60 countries. They're all quite different. We have branded S-Spa spas, about 100 of those. And then we have a system for smaller spas that we audit. All of these have our products, treatments, and training. And increasingly, we're looking at, we call it well-being, because we identified in the market that the consumer now is very educated compared to 10 years ago. And there was a time maybe a couple of years ago where everyone in the luxury, I'm talking luxury now, but everyone was beginning to look at, should we be doing medical, how far should we be going? But I think we've all determined that the luxury traveler wants amazing experiences, I call it more integrative experiences. So I don't like to see the hotel and spa separated now. I think that food, how the bedrooms are, the programs you do, fitness, mindfulness, all those things are integrated, and we shouldn't have a them and us with the spa over here, or the well-being, or the wellness, whatever you want to call it. And we're seeing a big trend in mixed-use facilities. So, for instance, I've got a very interesting project under construction in Morocco where the client still wants a 5-star luxury resort that can cope with kids, but at the same time they want a wellness destination in part of the resort, and that's quite difficult to manage, all those sorts of things. But from S-Spa's point of view, we have our own factory, we're very green, everything's sustainable. I think people aren't just paying tokenism anymore to sustainability. I think it's absolutely crucial to everything you do. So our products are distributed to these 60 countries. We've got all our licensing and trademarks. It's been quite a challenge doing that.
That in itself is an accomplishment.
And then we do about 6 million treatments a year, and we train about 5,000 therapists in all those cultures. So one of the glories of that is we learn so much from each culture.
Absolutely.
And I think another trend I'm seeing is, whereas maybe 10 years ago, we could train pretty well standard across the world, I'm seeing now that cultures are becoming even more differentiated. So I think the consumer now, I think the big challenge for the 5-star market, because we've got such an educated consumer, is personalization is the way forward, and that is always really difficult. So whether you're talking about personal training, or you're talking about organic food, or you're talking about mindfulness, resilience, and all of those kinds of treatments, that's a challenge to train teams to that level and personalize things. So my view is the consumer now wants less is more, but they want it done extremely well, and they want it done on an individual basis and very tailored to them. And as a consumer, I am a boomer, obviously, but that for me is key when I travel as well. You want great experiences, brilliant treatments, brilliant personal training, great food, really well sourced, and all of those things.
I remember, Sue, when we go back a ways, because I've been in the industry about 40 years, and you can see Sue is the expert because she's been around a long time and she was always on the cutting edge. So I just want to suggest that if you have any questions, she will be able to answer them. So go to Slido and ask your question, and we'll watch for your question coming up, because you should take advantage of the fact that she is here and can answer so many questions. But Sue, I remember when I was first in the industry, there was the thinking that no one could really have more than one spa, because it was, you could train people and they could be really good, but you couldn't have a second or third or fourth until you came around and you showed us that indeed it's possible. And now you say you have 700 spas? 700 spas, and are they all 5-star?
The branded ones are all 5-star, but we do 4-star plus. We see 4-star plus is a huge market. And they are different. The 4-star market.
Tell us about the difference between the 4-star in the spa arena and the 5-star.
Well, I suppose in the last few years, especially since 2008 with the global economic crisis,
recession.
Quite rightly, 5-star hotels and 4-star hotels have become much more financially accountable. And to deliver a 5-star experience, both physically, the capital cost of building a 5-star spa, and the talent and the labor costs and laundry costs, operating costs, everything is really, really high, as it is in hotels and food and beverage. So to deliver that true 5-star experience with all the little details, with the best personal trainers, with the best nutritionists, with the best therapists, with masses of training, is hugely expensive to deliver. 4-star, as with hotels, you look at a greater volume. Obviously, we don't do usually the longer treatments. The 50-minute massages are the most popular. People will compromise on the build. The mechanical and electrical side, as I'm sure you know, of a build is about 45% of the budget. So the guest experience, how they feel within the environment, is hugely expensive to deliver. Air handling, humidity handling, lighting, the whole infrastructure. And on 4-star plus, that often is slightly compromised. Thermal experiences, hot pools, hammams. I mean, a really good hammam is £250,000 to build.
So you'll see that more in the 5-star, perhaps?
Well, they do it in 4-star, but they don't do it well enough.
I see. Different level.
So you do feel the difference, but it's still a good experience.
Yes.
So it's finding a balance, and so many owners say to me, "I want the best. I want the best. I want to be the best in the world." And then when it comes to budget, they're quite shocked, because a spa is much more expensive to build per square meter than a hotel.
And, tell us a little bit about, not everyone is aware of the fact that, there is a revenue stream, obviously, in spas, but that's not the only thing a spa brings to a hotel, because our research shows, and obviously you know this with the numbers, that there's an attraction to a facility, to a hotel or resort, if there is a very good spa. Would you say, have you been able to quantify that at all?
We have, but only at the real top end of the market. So what I would say is the market now, so I'm talking right now, is sectioning more than it ever has before. And I think people are looking at the commercials. So the discussion is, if I have a 5-star hotel that operates at 80% occupancy in a city, do I need an elaborate spa? And often the answer is no. If I have a 5-star resort in an island in the middle of nowhere, I need a wellness destination.
Right.
I need a well-being destination. And one of the things we're seeing is we're increasingly being asked to design the whole resort. So instead of now of having a hotel with a well-being or a wellness, everybody's trying to, or the owners, I think, are ahead of hoteliers. Sorry if there's any hoteliers here, I'm sure there are. but the owners are ahead of that market, and they're wanting this very integrated resort where well-being comes through. And I really prefer that well-being word to wellness, because I think the consumer's very confused. And I think prevention and lifestyle and energy and aging well, I hate the expression, I'm 72 and I hate the expression anti-aging. I think it's all about being the best you can at every stage of your life, and that's about prevention and everything from the inside out. Whereas the medical side, I think, fits with Lanzerhof, Meyer, Giberson, Buchinger, those sorts. So there's a place for everybody, but I think the educated consumer will vote with their feet. But I think at the moment there's a lot of confusion because everyone's looking for an alternative word to spa, and they're picking on wellness. And wellness means different things in different cultures. So I would tell everyone to be wary of that.
Thank you for that. And, I'm looking at the questions, and so let's just go to a couple of them. One question is about marketing and promotion. And the question is, how much of it is social media now? What are you finding with your places?
Well, we're finding social media is really important, but then you have the privacy issue. So it's quite interesting. So if you have very famous people, because obviously with the millennials in particular, they love the whole celebrity association. But most five-star environments, quite rightly, have privacy issues.
Right, so they're not going to be the ones.
So they're not going to be blogging away about having, I won't quote, but a top media person in their spa. However, if that person, and I can say this because it happened, at Corinthia when Rhiannon was in there, she wanted loads of pictures taken in the spa. So once it's in the public domain, yes.
Then,
yes.
Yeah, because it's certainly... consumers are interested in the celebrities, and certainly millennials are very much about their social media. There's also a question about what you think might be the future of wellness tourism. So, what's in your crystal ball?
Oh, my crystal ball's so confused at the moment, because I think it depends where we have socialized medicine to a degree. So Europe, I think, is very different to Asia, Middle East, and so on. As I said earlier, I think it's very good that we're sectioning it out. And I would also be wary of not using the spa word, because the majority of consumers understand spa. It took us 10, 15 years for them to understand spa. They don't understand wellness unless they're a consumer who's used to going to a destination clinic. The Germans have used wellness for years and years and years. But I do think the whole prevention side, everything to do with lifestyle. For instance, we launched our mindfulness treatments and they absolutely flew. They're flying around the world because anxiety is huge, sleep deprivation is huge, cancer is at record levels, resilience is very low, hence all the problems with the teenagers and the early 20s. So those are going to be the issues, I think, as luxury hotels and luxury spas and well-being we're going to be able to deal with. I think when it comes to invasive medical procedures, the educated consumer is still going to go to a clinic to the best doctors. They're not going to risk their more invasive procedures at a luxury hotel. There are exceptions, but not many.
That's very interesting, and I agree with you that it's not so easy for a property to add medical, but to add mental wellness kinds of things, yoga, meditation, and so on. Tell us about the neuroscientist situation at the Corinthia.
Well, she's hugely busy. I can't believe it, because she's really dealing with very high-powered people, but it's really putting together it's almost like a combination of a life coach and treatments and nutrition and looking at brain waves. It's a very clever concept. You know as well as I do that technology now is affecting our brains. Blue light is affecting our sleep. The brain waves are changing in teenagers and the young. And we haven't learnt yet to manage technology. That's the problem. I mean, when I always sound like a dinosaur, because when I started my career as features editor of Vogue in the 60s, we didn't even have a computer, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have a fax. So in that 40 years, the world has changed so radically, and we haven't yet learned to handle it. And I think the mental wellness, as I said, to me there's a big difference between mindfulness, sleep deprivation, anxiety and resilience. So they're all different things. And the neuroscientist is really looking at people's lives, looking at the way they work, all those patterns, and really helping people change very successfully. I think it's something for the future.
Well, it's certainly interesting for us to notice that is something that you are doing, and thank you for sharing that. So Sue and I go back a long ways. The one thing that we don't always agree on, and I'm just going to mention, is that I like the word spa still, and I like the word both wellness and well-being. I find the consumer will respond to all of them in their own way, and I think that has helped propel our whole industry. But I do agree when it certainly comes to talking specifically, it'd be very difficult to get anyone to define wellness or well-being or spa for that matter in any consistent way.
Well, and I think the problem the audience probably have is you're all trying to be very clever with your marketing, but I don't think we're listening to the consumer. And if you can't deliver what you market, then you're going to create a problem. And I think it's very difficult to deliver a lot of that wellness and well-being programming that people are putting in. I could quote somebody, but I won't, who put a sleep program in, took 10 journalists, and virtually all it was a treatment and a tea at night. It wasn't a sleep program, and all the journalists were very disappointed. And this was a high-end 5-star brand. So those, I think, are going to be the challenges going forward, is marketing should not overpromise. You've got to have integrity because people trust brands, they trust programs, and if you overpromise and don't deliver, whether it's wellness, spa, or well-being, I think there's going to be a problem.
Well, we certainly see a lot of momentum, and we thank you, Sue, for being at the forefront and at a quality level, because that has helped the whole industry. Let's give her a hand. Thank you very much, Sue. So thank you so much, Sue. It was such a pleasure to have her with us today. And now I get to introduce someone who is going to speak about the evolution of the wellness travel consumer, and that is Stella Foti. She is from Wellbeing Escapes. And she has combined her passion for preventative health with her extensive travel industry experience. And she created Wellbeing Escapes in 2005. That was quite a while ago, very, very visionary of her. And her quest is to make healthy breaks accessible. So hearing from Sue and all the very 5-star, 4.5, 4-star, but very high end. And Stella, we are very glad that you have broadened the appeal of spa and wellness. And you've been a pioneer in that. And you're going to be talking about the evolution of the wellness travel consumer. So let's give an applause and hand to Stella.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Am I switched on?
I think you are. You just speak and
Am I switched on?
they'll handle
Can
it.
you hear me? Yeah. Well, thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Susie, for the introduction. Very kind. I'm delighted to be here being part of this wellness symposium. I remember being at World Travel Market 10 years ago, and I can tell you there was no speak about wellness in those days, so it's a real honour to be here. So today I'm going to cover really my observations on how the consumers and the buying behaviour has evolved over the last 10 to 12 years. I've been around for a while, so trying to remember back in those years and kind of analyse that and see where we were then and where we are now. And also I'm just going to touch a little bit on what I see as the disruptors in this marketplace and how which kind of consumer that they're affecting and appealing to. So 12 years ago I came up with this crazy idea to start a company that specialised in wellbeing travel. And we've touched a lot already about kind of the difference between spa and wellness and well-being and the confusion there is today. So imagine what it was like 12 years ago. Nobody had a clue what I was talking about. And I was trying to kind of put out there the well-being message and encourage people to go on a well-being holiday. And essentially what that meant is I went around the world with the team and found the best and most quality wellness experiences and marketed those to the clients, but also guided the clients to take the right experience for them. So that was the great idea. And I thought I was going to open the doors and the consumers were going to come flooding in and it was going to be a massive success immediately. What I realized was that I really didn't do enough market research at that time. And the market, even though it was there, it was small. And I have this motto that I say, I am my client. So I was using the Wellbeing Type Holiday to deal with my stress and the issues I had, my kind of corporate burnout at that time. And I thought there were a whole load of people out there that were willing to do the same thing. Now, there were people out there that were willing to do the same thing, and they were the early adopters, but there just weren't enough of them. And I go back and I look at what these people were booking in those days, and they were really ahead of the day too, because they were booking, full-on Ayurvedic programs in India. They were going to have a detox in Thailand, somewhere like Chivasom or Kamalaya. They were really, at the forefront of the development of this market. But on the other side, we had the luxury spa market, and that was huge. It still is huge, actually. So, and that spa market at that time was perceived as being decadent and luxurious, and it was the kind of thing that everybody wanted to do to have that lovely luxury experience. It was a really big market. And I wanted to try and go after that market and educate them a little bit about wellness and say, well, you can go and have this luxury experience, but you can combine that with a little bit of wellness and go back to what Sue was talking about, which is preventative health. And that's a big passion of mine personally, about, providing, advice and education about preventative health and helping people lead a healthy lifestyle and avoid having to go into medical facilities or hospitals. So, the luxury spa market in that day was, perceived as very luxurious, beautiful, decadent treatments in a beautiful environment, and possibly followed by a glass of champagne, a slice of cake, that kind of thing. Associated with women who lunch, women who have nothing better to do with their time. It had that kind of connotation. So it was quite a big quest to try and move that market from there, or at least introduce that market to the wellness market. And again, going back 10, 12 years, actually longer, say 15 years, there was the original health farms. I don't know if anyone here remembers the original health farms. And they didn't have a great reputation. They were about kind of going without, denying yourself pleasure, going to a fat farm to lose weight and being offered a plate of salad leaves and a few carrots. I'm kind of stereotyping, but you're getting the picture of what I mean. So there was a real distinction between these different levels. And what I saw when I started the company was that I was really attracting that primary wellness traveler that Susie talked about earlier, the people who wanted to go for a specific reason and achieve a specific goal. So now, 10 years later, I don't want to take credit for it. I think I did my little part. But here we have a market that is obsessed with wellness or well-being. And every day you can pick up a newspaper, a magazine, you can hear it on the news. Everyone's talking about well-being and wellness. And I agree with Sue and Susie. There's a little bit of confusion to people as to what that is. But it's an interesting one because I think people are really feeling that they want a slice of it. They don't actually know what that means, but they want a slice of it because they want to feel better about it. And this is something that I have reminded my team over and over again. And I'd like to share that message with you here today. Don't make assumptions about what people think wellness is. So wellness for one individual can be very different to another individual. And I'll give you an example. People call our company and they ask for a detox. So I'm constantly reminding my team that a detox for one person could mean, no alcohol for a week, and a detox for another person could mean, a full-on program with colonics and a juice fast. And it's a very individual journey that everyone's going on with their wellness. And as an industry, we shouldn't make assumptions that because the detox industry is growing, what exactly does that mean? Because somebody can come and say to you, I've been on a wellbeing holiday, and you make the assumption that's a full-on big expensive program in a wellness spa, but it may not be that. It may be a secondary wellness traveller who's been on a wellbeing holiday and has had a couple of treatments and visited the gym a few times and had some healthy food. In their mind, that's a wellness holiday, and that's fine because, like I say, it's an evolution, and everybody has their own take on where they are with wellness. One thing I can tell you, running this business for many years, is that it is an addictive type of holiday, and people come back over and over again. There's a very high repeat ratio, and each time somebody comes back, they just add a little bit more, so they can start off with a very basic kind of well-being package and take it right through to that full-on program. So the other thing I wanted to touch on are the three main areas that we've seen a difference in what people really want and are looking for with regards to the consumer with their wellbeing holiday. So 10 years ago, even with the early adopters, there was a lot of talk around kind of looking good, a little bit of feeling good, but it was quite superficial. So people would want to go on detoxes so they could lose weight and look great and feel better. But it was a lot about appearance, and we didn't really hear that much about stress. And that isn't because stress wasn't prevalent in those days, but stress in those days was kind of worn as a badge of honor. If you were stressed, you were successful because you worked so many hours a day and you got so much done, and it was almost weak to talk about feeling stressed or burnt out. You would never kind of mention that unless to your very close friends. It's certainly not in the marketplace. Today, that has changed so much. It is a massive area, and I would say at least 50% of the people who call us openly admit to suffering from huge levels of stress and burnout. And what does that mean? What does that mean in terms of the type of holiday that they're looking for? It's really going back to basics. They're looking for a place that they can just rest, to be honest, enhance their sleep, have nourishing food, some deeply therapeutic treatments, a place where they can feel that they can kind of find themselves again. And for the brave, some of them are willing to even do a digital detox, to hand over their devices. So it's a big area. The second area is emotional healing. Again, we have a section on our website which is called Heartbreak Healers, and it's clicked on enormously. It's a big area where people are feeling that they can talk about and get in touch with their, their traumatic events that happen in their life. It could be a divorce, a breakup, a business failure. It could be a number of things. And so these are areas that people want to go to, wellness resorts that are really providing a nurturing and caring environment that helps them, deal with this emotional trauma that they've been through. And again, they're very open about speaking about it. That's something that never happened in the past. And finally, the main difference, and again, Susie touched on it earlier, to 10 years ago, is more self-development and self-awareness. That means these are the people who I call the seekers, the people who want to learn a new skill, maybe look at kind of more spiritual awakenings, look at maybe learning meditation. I introduced meditation breaks 7 years ago. It was a real flop. Again, I was ahead of my day. But now, we have so many people calling us who want to learn how to meditate and want to have it available as part of their holiday. So I'm going to quickly rush it along because I've already passed my time, but just my final piece is about the disruptors that I see in this market. And these are, I've been thinking a lot about this, and these are really about retreats. And these appeal to the early adopters, my original client, and also the millennials, who we've heard have a completely different set of needs. But if you think about it, the retreat market has grown so much. And when I talk about retreats, I'm talking about set date retreats run by yoga teachers, by fitness trainers, by nutritionists. So many people running their own retreats where they only need to do it once or twice a year and get maybe 10 or 20 people to go on it to make it commercially viable for them. So imagine a market like the UK where you have thousands of these retreats running, and how fractured the market is becoming because of that. It's becoming so big that I actually decided to back a business called Queen of Retreats, because I see it as a real trend for the future. And what does that mean for us? That means that people are looking for to be in a small group environment, a place where they feel that they can connect with like-minded individuals and not necessarily be in a big kind of luxury spa resort. There are a lot of people who do want to do that, but the people who are going on these retreats really want to feel that they can connect with people like them. And then lastly but not least, there's Airbnb with their do-it-yourself wellness experiences, and that's something also that we should be looking at. I've outstayed my time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella. I really love the fact that you really talk with consumers, so you have a real pulse for what's going on, and especially that you're sharing that this is addictive. I would agree with that, and that is good for all of us. So thank you, Stella. I would like to now invite Vicente Torres and Delia De Miguel to the stage. There they are. And you have a real treat coming up because these people are from, hello, Delia. Hello. Oh, twice. Right.
Hello, Susie.
Hello. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
And yes,
Okay.
right here is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Vicente and Delia are from Ibiza. And Ibiza is rebranding or branding a wellness. Ibiza is wellness. And I wanted to introduce you to what they're doing because I think it's very cutting edge, very futuristic. And so, Mr. Torres, you're the Minister of Tourism in Ibiza. Tell us a little bit about how this came about.
Well, I am the Director of Tourism for Ibiza. Thank you very much, Susie, for giving us this opportunity to talk about Ibiza in this place. Ibiza is a well-known brand. It's known everywhere. It's known as a destination for sun, beach, fun, but also we have other opportunities. And Ibiza's wellness is one of them. What happened about Ibiza's wellness? One day, talking with Delia, we start talking about the opportunities maybe someone who comes to Ibiza might have on regarding healthy holidays. Today, people are changing a lot their habits. They are looking more for experiences. And we think Ibiza, we can give new experiences. And regarding wellness, what happened is that in Ibiza we had this offer, but it was like in a draw. You have this untidy draw, right? So what we have done is just put a bit of order. And we have this new platform called Ibiza's Wellness, where we have different groups offering different type of services and opportunities.
What Stella mentioned about retreats, I understand you're doing quite a few retreats in Ibiza, which is right on trend. But tell us when you started thinking about Ibiza and wellness and when you started actually using the brand Ibiza is Wellness. How long ago was that?
Well, we started more or less about a year ago, is when we present the idea to the companies that they're already working or operating in Ibiza. We have different groups of them, like for example hotels that they have a wide range of offer regarding a spa area, but also there are other companies that they are offering services, like for example maybe active holidays with walks or sports, retreats, also some ecological farms. Like for example, we have an example of a lady who was before in the decoration business, and one day she decided to change her business, and she went back to the family farm, and she converted this farm in an opportunity for the visitors to go there and have a different experience, an ecological farm. This we have also a group. So about a year ago is really when we start talking about Ibiza's Wellness and when the name of Ibiza's Wellness appeared for the first time.
Well, I think that is so interesting because it's only been a year, and yet you've done quite a bit. And in fact, you've put together a beautiful campaign. And I wanted to see if we could run, it's a 3-minute or 3.5-minute segment that you've put together, and it will introduce you to Ibiza and also the whole idea of Ibiza is Wellness. And I congratulate you on this. If you can run that video for us, that would be fantastic. Well, I think we should give them a hand for a beautiful job on this.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Tell us a little bit about this. When did you create this video and how are you using it?
Yes.
Delia?
Yeah, thank you for bringing us again. We started talking about this change on the tourism in Ibiza with Vicente, and after I did this thesis investigation about the holistic tourism and how Ibiza was making a change in the holistic tourism attracting a lot of different yoga teachers around the world. So we decided to create this online platform, and this video, it was the best way. After we talked with all the small sectors we are including, that they had so beautiful images already that we can put all together and start using on online campaigns in our social network and mainly in our website, where we have all these 16 categories of healthy lifestyle in Ibiza, all together in an online directory where you can access to all these services in Ibiza now for holistic tourism.
I think it's very interesting that Delia, from what I understand, you did a master's thesis on Ibiza. You live in Ibiza, and this idea of Ibiza is wellness. And I guess it was captivating to the people that you introduced it to. And I just give you, Vicente, credit for making a move and embracing it, because it is a risk to, here's an island that is very well known for its partying and beauty and so on, and now you're going to add to that in a major way with wellness. And I think that's how fast people need to move these days. I think there's no time to do 5 years of study. It's a matter of, this is obvious. This is a good thing to do. For an island like yours, it is just such a natural. So I appreciate when someone in tourism is moving quickly, and Delia, you were very visionary to have done this and presented something that was easy to say yes to, I would imagine. So tell us a little bit about, I think we were showing a website. Was there one slide of your website? Maybe we need to go back to that.
Yeah, these ones are now, yeah.
Okay, so tell us about what you've done on the website.
Yeah, what we did is first we studied how you can bring a healthy lifestyle in Ibiza from since you get up in the morning till night you go to bed. Not only during the summertime when we have a lot of tourists, but also during the year for our own population. So that's how we started thinking about this healthy lifestyle for tourists, for example, in accommodation, restaurants, active tourism, and then also deeper in our daily habits, like going to the gym, going to an organic farm to buy what you are going to eat during the week, and also activities, courses for children, for adults. So we put them all these together in these 16 categories, just to make people easy to find these places. So it's for ourselves, the people who live there, and also when tourists come, that we communicate through our social network and try to reach all of them.
I think it's interesting, these 16 categories, because that is a way to sort of get around this challenge that Sue and Stella brought up. Spa, wellness, well-being, eco. I mean, people have different ideas in their mind, but with the 16 categories, and I've looked at them, a person will be able to, oh yes, here's a retreat. Oh, here I can go to a farm and have healthy food, or I think that's very, very wise. So congratulations on that. And I also think what you mentioned is interesting, that you were thinking about not just the tourists, but those who live in Ibiza. That is very, very timely, sustainable. Vicente, tell us a little bit about the thinking on that.
Yes, because Ibiza is a touristic island. Our main product is tourism. A lot of people think that we are only open in summer, which is a mistake. We are open 365 days a year. And to combine visitors with residents sometimes is difficult. So we thought that this product will be a good product for everyone, not only for the visitors, also for the visitors, also for the residents, you see. So we can combine both things. And especially when you see you work really hard in a summer holiday destination, then you need a bit of peace, also interior peace. And with offering these different categories, then you can look what is more convenient to you. Doesn't matter if you are a visitor or if you are a resident, and you can maybe participate in one of these activities. That's really what was our thought, and is what we aim that everyone will be able to appreciate.
Well, I think that's very wise, and I would imagine that by offering to your residents their knowledge of what you're doing and their engagement, you will also get them more behind what is happening for the tourism. So it's probably a really good win-win. So I applaud you with that. I'm just curious, if you're watching your website, which I'm sure you are, what are people most interested in at this point?
Mainly, they like a lot the events, what is happening. Yeah, the news we talk about, the new activities Consell is doing, the new activities we have on the weekend, the new retreats, they can come for holidays. So mainly about the day-by-day news. And then they use a lot the most healthy habits, like for example going to a new restaurant that we tell them about, or about the tourists, they look for new sustainable accommodations. This is very important now. We are trying to educate people and tourists, but also the establishment to be more sustainable, because consumers are eco-intelligent more and more, so we have to go according to that. Yeah.
That's very interesting, and that's what consumers are looking for. And I am aware in all of the research that we do how important food is. It's important to all of us. And it is important to people who are thinking and looking for wellness. So what an interesting idea to really incorporate that right from the beginning, and not in a deprivation way. As Stella mentioned, we used to be talking about going someplace to diet and exercise. It's not so much that. People want to enjoy themselves on a wellness holiday. And you have fresh fruits and vegetables and going to farms and so on. And I saw in your video a beautiful restaurant, and I'm sure there's others. So tell us what's on plan for the next couple of years. What is your plan with this program, either of you?
Well, we expect to continue working on this product. At present, we have over 250 companies that have joined already the program. We are working now in groups to see what, for example, are their problems in the order of continuation. Maybe they have also problems with documentation or whatever, and we're trying to help them to analyze what's happening in their particular sector, and to analyze that and to help them to get better, and also to incorporate other new companies. And our aim is to continue doing the promotion as we do, as the local government that we are. The Consell Insular is the local government on the island, so we hope to continue promoting this product, and that you never know, maybe it will be one of the most important products we'll have on the island. But as I said before, 365 days a year, not only summer period.
That is such a good point. That is one thing that we have found Wellness has done. Wellness Wellbeing Spa has absolutely taken a seasonal property and made it much more. Shoulder season, other seasons. In Austria, we did our summit last year. Used to be all about the winter. Now the summers are more popular than the winters because a wellness program will elongate that. So I just want to congratulate you. I would like to suggest that we all watch what's happening with Ibiza as Wellness. I think it's an interesting model also because it's very manageable. You're one island, you get to make a decision and things happen. And I predict that these two will be consulting with others who will be doing something similar. As more people want these kind of holidays and experiences. And it's not a matter of really competing with others. We want people to go to Ibiza for a while, and then maybe they want to go to a Thailand experience in Australia and so on.
Yeah, and continue these healthy habits they learn in their own houses. So we are also increasing local economies for more sustainable and healthy lifestyle when they come back to Destiny.
You are a model that is to be admired. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you and good luck.
Bye. Thank you very much.
So much. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce you to someone I've known for many, many years, Anne Bigging. And she is the founder of Healing Hotels of the World. We met right when she was starting her business, and it has become massively successful. So Anne, please come up. She's from Germany, and you're going to tell us about Healing Hotels.
Susie, and you're reminding me of the good old days when there was nothing out there. I do have a set of slides. Is that happening?
can you click on forward? There you go.
Okay. All right, so that says it all, actually. We are truly believe that there is an era of healing now happening. I will listen very closely to everything that has been said this morning so far, and I totally agree. Sue and Stella and also Ibiza is a beautiful model for what is happening. But I want to talk to you about healing. I want to ask you, how are you? How do you feel right now? Are you relaxed? No? Okay, so what we have done is what I ask myself actually every day, what is healing? And we contemplate that in our global team and talk about it. What is this healing? So why don't you just take a little pause, 1 second. Take a little rest in your seat. Put your mobile phones away for a second, please. And then take a deep breath in. And close your eyes if you want to. And observe your breath. And maybe you can even observe your thoughts, your thinking. What is happening in your mind right now? What are your emotions? How does your body feel? And perhaps you can put your hand on your heart if you wish and feel your heartbeat. What is that saying? That's something which sustains you totally. So you watch your own being in a very sweet way. And then perhaps you can open your eyes and come back to this room. So we came, considering what is healing and why is it so important. Definition is not there yet, but think something like becoming still and aware of your inner state, or being detached from your inner scars, from your thoughts and feelings. What we just did, we detached from our thinking, and so you can arrive in a state of calmness. Another point is self-inquiry. Ask yourself deep questions. What's happening with you? Why are you here? Why are you there? What are you doing with your life? Why do you get up in the morning? And I heard a beautiful explanation a long time ago. Somebody said, a good life is actually arriving at a still point from where we can live. I see Claudia nodding, and that means a lot to me. So here we are. We heard a lot about trends. So a trend, I don't know about trends. I think trends is something that is always there. It's a pattern that is around, and it's like the pink elephant in the room, but nobody really talks about it because we don't have words for it. So often people ask me, okay, and so what's the next trend in healing? And I feel this anxiety in their voices because they want something new, something exciting, something sexy, something really takes you from here out there. That's all good because people are meant to expand. That's our conscious work to do. But at the other hand, it takes us on a wild ride because we always look for something new and we miss the now, the presence, which I feel very honored, to be here with you. It's nice, I like it, and we are all here together now. So at the same time, yes, we are a business, and we need to look into what is happening around the world. What I find when people ask me, what is the trend? What we have been given right now is to work with destinations. They are just coming up, like China, Egypt, Russia. Why is that so? It was very interesting for me. I've been a world traveler for over, 40 years, 35 years. Always went to all parts of the world, and all of a sudden I see something which I couldn't see before. The interconnectedness of all people. When I see what's happening in China, I learn from my now friends there, from my clients. They have gone through their cultural revolution. The people who are in their 40s now have same scars like we had in Germany or all over the world after our tragedies. We are similar. We are seeking healing. We are longing to arrive at a better place. So that is so beautiful to understand. The same with Russia, deep old healing tradition. Claudia and I, we were just working in Egypt, one of the most peaceful places I've ever been, in a 21 million metropole city. Peace, respect, awesome. So we move to something. Why is healing so important? What you can see on that curve there. Okay, so technology is super, super fast. I'm reading a book now, it's called Thank You for Being Late. And in this book, it is described that you can see the curve where how fast technology is going, and it's all good because it's part of us. We have found it, so we better deal with it. But there we are, human beings, our behavior, our way of, our ability to adapt to that, what's happening. Always the next app is out, we're always running behind. Sue said it so nicely. We can't stop. We always have to be on top. Because something new is happening, I turn around, something new happened. Woo, big deal. That keeps me on my heels. I don't have heels, but it keeps me up. It keeps me running all the time, and I feel I'm never good enough. Hence, people are looking for something else. We need to slow down. And, but the truth is we'll never be on top of anything, but we can at least give our best in the situation. So people look for a way where we can all rest and find a place of silence, of renewal. Why are we so stressed? What's happening? It doesn't have to be that way. So this is healing, a healing hotel, and you heard from beautiful Stella and beautiful Sue and beautiful Susie, by the way. Susie is my hero, because without you, we wouldn't be here. None of us, maybe Sue, I don't know, but who was first in US, but you have really paved the way for us to step in and create healing hotels. So a healing hotel is a very complex thing. And because it is in such a demand, as you heard Stella said it before, it's crazy. I've never thought in my wildest dreams that this would happen, and it's happening now. People want and need healing. And so a healing hotel is a very complex thing. And it's very diversified because we have different cultures. The people in different ages, different culture groups need different ways of healing. I want to tell you quickly why I'm doing this here. Because creating healing hotels of the world is based on a very deep personal experience. And it actually beautifully, yesterday, 25 years ago, I went for the first time in my life to a meditation center upstate New York in the United States. I was asked from a friend of mine told me, go there, because my life was a bit in a mess. I was just divorced, tried to raise a young child, building my own business. It was pretty demanding, and I felt devastated and at loss. I didn't really know what to do. I was trying to find help. I wanted to be a good businesswoman, I wanted to be a good mother, I wanted to be a good everything. So in that meditation center, I started to really meditate. I looked into my own soul, I looked into my pain, into my beauty, I looked into my self-worth, and I did a lot of self-inquiry. I started yoga, I started to eat in a different way. So I really, on this path, I found a new Anne, and that was an Anne that was supporting me. I wanted independence, and I found the independence on that path. So really, when you do this kind of thing, you want other people to do the same. This is one of the reasons why I thought I want to pass that on. I'm not a teacher, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a world traveler, I know hotels, so I put things together. So I want to give you a little bit of 5 tools, 5 elements of healing. I know it's a very short time. I also don't want to bore you. Are you bored? No? Thank you. That's good. Okay, so I can continue. So we have many elements, as you could see in the first slide. Many elements make a healing hotel. And when I look at Sue, I'm frightened because she probably will have 50 others putting on the same slide. But really, let's stick with the environment, because I spoke about Egypt. A new client of ours in Egypt, Ayman Tolba, he said, "My wish for the hotel is that the moment the guest touches the ground, they feel like human beings again and forget the so-called luxury of the world and feel the sweet luxury of themselves." So this is the sensitivity of a healing hotel. Everything is like a temple, like a church, like a mosque, like your grandmother's home. Everything, all of that in one place. We talk about the healing concept. I mean, this is such a vast theme, because we are much more than our glowing, beautiful skin and our strong muscles from yoga. Inside of that is our soul. So we believe in the healing hotels, in our partner hotels, that the soul is actually the director of the play. It's the production director, because from that springs on everything we do there. And yes, there is consulting, and yes, there is assessment of your life, but it has to be very personalized. I think Sue said that before, very personalized. And I believe we have to stop looking in what we can do outside. We have to start and go inside. We have to go deeper, because otherwise we won't be able to cope with this beautiful life we have at hand. So then there is a guest journey. Again, as I said before, it's a personal journey. When I arrive at a healing hotel, what I want to do is I want to get up in the morning and do yoga and meditate. Other people want to sleep, that's fine. Or you go on your morning walk. You have your assessment the day before, so everybody in the hotel knows what Anne or Stella or Sue or Susie is wanting here. Everybody knows what you're going to eat. Everybody knows what you should not do or what you should do. So the whole hotel is your teacher. So that places a lot of focus on HR, the personnel, the people, the staff you will be hiring, because for them it has to be a deep understanding of the existence. It's like a circle of love. I know you're up, Susie. Okay, you're going. Community we touched already. Giving love, receiving love. If you're in a hotel, you have to look into the community outside and inside. Okay, do I have a vision? Yes, I do have a vision. We have 105 hotels. We call them peace points, or you could call them ambassadors of love all over the world. And my wish is, or our intention is, that we have more and many peace points, hotels, ambassadors of love all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. I appreciate
you, my
it.
dear.
And I'm going to ask you to have a seat here,
Yeah.
and I'm going to invite all of those who are with us this morning to have a seat. We're going to use the last 10, 12 minutes for questions and answers. And I'll see if you have some questions, and if you do, you can go to Slido to ask them. And if you don't have any questions, I'll have questions. So if we can have each of you, and Vicente is not here, so
Vicente has
he needed to go. Okay, not a problem. So let's, okay, I do see there are some questions here. So let's just see. Let's start with this one. Do you see a role for bringing in expert guest speakers as well as having your permanent spa team? So that's an interesting question. Who wants to start? Sure, Sue.
What we find is, I do believe there is a place, and I think wellness weeks and well-being weeks for low seasons will be very important. But the problem is marketing them. If you don't market them well and you don't get the guests in, then there's not a lot of point. And what we've found is that some hotel groups, or especially boutique ones or smaller ones, are very good at marketing. If we have a wellness week, or we have a guest speaker, or maybe somebody, or a yoga guru, or whatever it is, it either works very well and they get great PR from it and they obviously make money from it, or else it's a bit of a disaster.
So marketing is a real key. Stella, what are you seeing?
I think, guest speakers can be also named visiting practitioners. I think a lot of hotels think if they bring a visiting practitioner in, that people are going to come flooding in for that visiting practitioner. That's not the case. It enhances the experience for the guests that are currently in the resort, but I would be very careful about seeing it as being a driver for business. I think it's an overall enhancer.
Yeah. I think really our experience as masters in residence, as we call them, it's very interesting because some people take advantage of that, having a personal guide during their stay. So it's really a very sweet offering to the guests. But I agree with Stella, it's not a revenue driver in itself, it's more an offering for the guests.
It's a plus.
Yeah.
It is also very important that you have venues, places to sell. So they are the teachers who go to your places. You don't have to invest in advance for big leaders or yoga teachers, just to have these spaces so they will always go to you.
So in a way, they kind of bring some of their clients or their students, and that can be a plus. Yeah. So I think that those are great answers. Let's see what else we have here. Feel free to choose one of these because you can see them here. Let's see.
The bottom one's quite interesting.
The bottom one? Which one is that?
One about qualifications and quality.
Can you address the challenges with regards to staffing spas? Yes, that is a good question. And Sue, why don't you start with that, about staffing and qualifications?
Well, it was qualifications and quality, and I do think that is a really big challenge. And with therapists in particular, it's training, and retention. And one of my bugbears globally, and I brought it up recently, is I think our core qualification in the industry needs addressing globally. Mm-hmm. So whereas years ago, therapists trained for a minimum of 2 years, and they did in-depth anatomy, physiology, skin, all these things, now there's too many short courses, and that also kind of addresses the one on staffing and bringing in outsiders. If you bring in outsiders, you can't control the quality. Mm. So for me, it's all about training, staff retention, progressing them through more advanced treatments. But if you continually have turnover, that's a problem. And then the experts, for me, if I'm looking at the future, the experts are going to be the problem, because it's one thing training therapists, it's another thing training osteopaths, nutritionists, neuroscientists, all those things. So I think it's a very good question, and I think every country has different regulations, so that's also a challenge.
I saw everyone agreeing, and just for those of you who might not understand our industry that well, we do have a shortage of really quality because we've been growing so fast.
Yeah.
That's not to be, that's to be expected. But Anne, did you?
I had just an astonishing news yesterday or this morning about China, because everyone or very many people are so much into TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. It's a beautiful way of healing. And I found out that in our partner hotels in China, the doctors cannot practice. They're not allowed by government to practice in the hotels. So here we have a big, huge need, but we can't deliver. And I think there is time for creating a new academy.
I just want to touch on the question from Shannon, who I know, who runs mindfulness retreats. And her question says...
tell us the question.
Yeah, as mindfulness experts over 35 years, we are concerned at the quality of experts these days. How can this be regulated? And you're absolutely right. And I think it's a broader question. It's not just about mindfulness experts. It's about experts in general. And it's also, it goes back to the whole world of wellness and well-being. It's a bit of a cash cow, so everybody wants to, put that as part of their name. And really my message with all of this is about integrity. And if you're going to offer something, make sure that you are absolutely qualified to offer it, because the consumer will find out if you're not, and they will vote with their feet. And I've seen it over and over again. I've seen, hotels who have quite a mediocre spa offering professing to offer wellness. I've seen people who want to run mindfulness and meditation programs and don't have the expertise behind it. I certainly won't market places like that. But if you have a good marketing machine, sure, you can get people in the doors, but those people won't come back because people can kind of separate those with integrity and those without. So, yeah. Shannon, to answer your question, I'm not sure how it can be regulated, but I think the consumer's clever enough to vote with their feet.
Yeah, I think there's also one thing happening which we, I think, always underestimate, and that is you opening a Pandora's box. If you take people on a retreat, we call it mindfulness, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but it is. You open people's heart, and out comes their wounds, their scars, their desires, all of that. We have to be able to deal with that, and that is a huge thing.
It's a very good point.
I totally agree. You're dealing with emotions, you're dealing with psychological problems. Sure. In the old days, when I ran a health farm, we had doctors and we had nurses and we had osteopaths. However, we wouldn't deal with counselling, because one of the things we found was that when you start with counselling, you open a whole floodgate, and if you then haven't got a referral system worldwide, you create more problems than you start with. And that's what I was saying earlier about not marketing things that can't be delivered and can't be delivered well, because the guest expectation is going to be so high. And what we find, even with holistic treatments, I would say 50% of people, when they're on the treatment couch, cry, because you're releasing so much emotional stress. It can be good as well as bad. It can be happy as well as sad. But the minute you get into more advanced modalities, it becomes even more complex.
But I think there's one way out. Oh, sorry, Dahlia.
Delia,
way out. Just one more thing to that, because I think it's important to know, even a simple detox thing at the Lanzerhof, wherever, opens people up to their stuff. I mean, we should never forget that. And I think there's so much work for us to look into and help, and taking the lessons home, how to deal with it. Sorry, Alia. But
and the main thing is that we train or make programs that we can learn to manage. It is about the managers who are selecting these talents, or that are reaching the people who will need this retreat specifically. So we have to train about these marketing strategies, where to find our people, where to find our yoga teachers. So it's about managing as well.
I think what we're finding is the consumer is just so much more advanced now. They, in their homes, they have, not in their homes, but where they live, oftentimes they are engaged with some of these programs. So when they're traveling, then they know what quality is. I have a couple questions very quickly that I'm going to ask you, and one of them is about millennials. The question is, what do the millennials want in their wellness experience? So just very quickly, 2 or 3 words, what are you finding that the millennials are wanting? Sue, what do they want?
They want integrity, they want real, and they want experience. They don't want bullshit.
They don't want bullshit. Okay. Delia, what do the millennials want?
They want attractive programs where we combine different activities and surprise them. Yeah.
Stella?
Yeah, I think they want independence, and they want the ability to choose what they want to do when they want to do it.
Anne?
I think they want a purpose. They want to find their own purpose in life. And I agree, no bullshit.
Those are all good answers, and I would add that millennials also want to book online. They want to research online. They're all about their smartphones as well. Next question is, where in this whole arena is there more money to be made? Where can, even if you're not in that arena, where would you put money if you had investment money to where you think that there's going to be some really good return? Sue?
Oh, you would ask me first. Well, there's a few things. I still don't think you should ignore your spas and your spa treatments. In all our wellness and well-being destinations, the core revenue still comes from treatments, personal training, retail. If I was putting money down, I think it's going to be home.
Home.
I think people are going to want. I have a sauna at home. I have a hot pool. I have a swimming pool. I know I'm privileged, but I'm 72. I owned it, and I've got a gym, a personal trainer. I live that life. I have to now, and I think in future that's going to be a lot of resort competition. Is people have got their own masseurs at home. They've got their own personal trainers. They're seeing a nutritionist and all of those things, especially the boomers. The millennials are very interested in sustainability. I have 6 grandchildren from 21 down to 6, and the ones that are at university are all vegetarian, which is interesting because they weren't brought up that way. So I think there's going to be a whole different movement that hotels and resorts are going to have to compete with.
Good advice. Delia? Where would you put your money?
There is 2 ways I will do that. First is about investing in sustainability, that I can show people that I'm doing in the right way. So first to do it, some different politics, and then make a video about this so people see the reality as near as they can. And the second one I will do is to have time or a person that can make these attractive programs, like a networking between the people around you, and make these packs and sell to different places.
Yeah. And Stella?
I agree with Sue about spas. I think luxury spas and spas are still here to stay. They're doing very well. They're really kind of a tried and proven vehicle for people to feel better. So I would say that. But also, on the other end of the spectrum, and I have invested in it, is the retreat market. So I think in terms of places where people can go and stay at a more affordable level and approach wellness from a kind of a community and holistic level, but in a more affordable way.
It's interesting that you mentioned the affordable level. When Massage Envy opened in the US, and I think in the UK you have, is it something similar? It's very affordable spas or massages. Massage Envy is doing over $1 billion a year. They have a franchise system, and that has been, quite a financial success. And where would you see some financial opportunity?
I see 3 things. One is nutrition. I think people really are wanting to have healthy nutrition now, in whatever way and form, but in a true, authentic way. Learning. That's the second. Learning how to live a holistic, preventive wellness, whatever we say, a healing life, I would say. Learning on the internet, through communities and so on. And the third is I really want people who be able to go home. And even if you can't afford your personal trainer and all that, but I want them to be able to take something home so that we can develop and sell devices for people, more intellectually, to learn, to reread. Journaling, for instance, take it home.
So it isn't just when you're at a location, but also when you're home. We're going to end with one last question, and I'm just going to give you one word to answer. But before that, I know, Delia, you had mentioned that you brought some gifts for the audience.
Yeah, at the end.
So that'll be available when they leave?
Yeah, we have bring small examples of all these companies that we are working together for a new Ibiza. At the end, we will give you a bag for each one of you.
Great. So make sure you get that on your way out. So here's my last question, and you only get one word to answer. And the question is, in one word, how would you describe the future of this wellness travel arena? In one word, and I'll start with Anne, so you get a little more time, Stu. In one word, what would you say that we've spoken about today, the future of this wellness travel arena?
Holistic healing.
Holistic healing.
The whole pie.
Okay. Stella? Exciting. Okay. Delia?
Social well-being.
Social well-being. And Sue, you get the last word, unless I have one, but go ahead.
Healthy aging.
Healthy aging. Mm-hmm. And I would say that my word would be optimistic. This has just begun. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if people would have said it's already this robust, I don't think that we would have believed it. So I have a feeling that in another 5 years, we will be astounded by what's happening. Please give a round of applause to my team. And thank you very much. If you have any questions for any individuals, just come on up and ask. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Susie.
Susie.
Thank